When Sarah Mitchell's phone buzzed at 2 a.m., she had no idea her desperate text for baby formula had reached the wrong number. The man on the other end wasn't her friend, Emily. He was Marcus Chen, a billionaire CEO working late in his downtown office. What should have been a simple mistake became a moment that would change two lives forever. Because sometimes the wrong number is exactly the right one. This is a true story about a single mother's strength, a stranger's compassion, and the unexpected miracle that proved humanity still exists in the darkest hours. Sarah Mitchell stood at the kitchen sink of her studio apartment, washing the last baby bottle as the clock on the microwave blinked 1047 a.m. Her arms ached, her eyes burned, but she couldn't sleep, not yet. Not until she figured out how to feed her 6-month-old daughter, Emma, tomorrow. The apartment was silent except for the gentle hum of the refrigerator and Emma's soft breathing from the crib in the corner. Sarah looked around the small space that had become their entire world. The paint was peeling near the ceiling. The carpet had stains she'd tried countless times to remove. But it was clean. It was safe. It was theirs. She dried her hands on a dish towel and walked to the cabinet where she kept Emma's formula. 1 scoop left. Maybe 2 if she stretched it thin. Her stomach tightened as she closed the cabinet door. 3 months ago, everything had been different. She'd had a job as an administrative assistant, a small apartment with a bedroom and a partner she thought would be there forever. Then came the layoffs. Then came the truth about Michael, the gambling debts, the lies, the day he left without even saying goodbye to his daughter. Sarah had tried everything. She'd applied to 47 jobs in 6 weeks. She'd sold her laptop, her television, and most of her clothes. She'd moved to this cheaper apartment. She'd called every assistance program in the county, but the waiting lists were months long, and Emma needed to eat now. Tonight, she'd fed Emma the last full bottle. Tomorrow morning, there would be nothing. Sarah sat down at the small kitchen table, surrounded by unpaid bills she'd been avoiding. Electric bill, past due. Water bill, final notice. Rent, due in 3 days. She had $63 in her bank account and a quarter tank of gas in her car. She thought about her parents, gone now for 5 years after the accident. She thought about her sister Laura struggling with her own family across the country. She thought about her pride and how little it mattered when your baby was hungry. Sarah picked up her phone. Her contact list felt painfully short. Most of her friends had drifted away after Michael left. Not because they didn't care, but because she'd stopped reaching out, stopped answering calls, stopped pretending everything was okay. But there was Emily. Emily from the parent support group at the community center. Emily had offered to help. Emily had given Sarah her number and said, "Anytime, I mean it." Sarah's fingers hovered over the screen. It was almost 2 a.m., but Emily had said, "Anytime," and this was an emergency. She began typing, her hands shaking slightly. "Hi, Emily, it's Sarah from the support group. I'm so sorry to text this late. I'm in a bad situation. I have no formula for Emma tomorrow and no money until my benefits come through next week. Could I possibly borrow $30 for formula? I'll pay you back as soon as I can. I'm desperate. Please." She read it 3 times, hating every word, hating the desperation in her own voice. But Emma came first. Pride didn't feed babies. Sarah hit send and watched the message disappear. Then she put her head in her hands and let herself cry quietly, so she wouldn't wake Emma. These were the tears she never allowed during the day, the tears of a mother who was trying her best and still falling short. 10 minutes passed. Then her phone buzzed. Sarah grabbed it, expecting Emily's response. Instead, she saw an unfamiliar number. "I think you have the wrong number, but I read your message. Are you and your daughter safe?" Sarah's heart sank. The wrong number, of course. She must have misremembered Emily's number. She started to type an apology, then stopped. Who asks if someone is safe? Most people would have just ignored a wrong number text. She typed back, "I'm so sorry. I meant to text a friend. Yes, we're safe. Just struggling. Again, I apologize for bothering you." The response came quickly. "No apology needed, but I have questions. Is your daughter in immediate danger of going hungry? Where are you located?" Sarah stared at her phone. This was strange. Maybe she should stop responding. But something about the directness of the questions, the lack of judgment, made her continue. We're in Harbor City. She has enough formula for one morning bottle. After that, I don't know. I have no family nearby, and no money until next week. 3 dots appeared, showing the person was typing. They disappeared, then appeared again. I'm going to help you. My name is Marcus. I'm at my office downtown. There's a 24-hour pharmacy on 6th and Marshall. I'm going to call them right now and pay for a month's supply of formula. You can pick it up any time tonight or first thing in the morning. What brand does your daughter need? Sarah read the message 4 times. Her hand started shaking for a different reason now. This had to be a mistake. People didn't just help strangers like this, not in real life. She typed, I can't accept that. I don't even know you. This is too much. Then know me. I'm Marcus Chen. I run a technology company. I'm working late. I saw your message and I can help, so I'm going to. My mother raised me alone. I know what it takes. What brand of formula? Sarah's vision blurred with tears. She typed the brand name with trembling fingers. I'll pay you back. I promise I'll pay you back. No need. Just take care of your daughter. I'm calling the pharmacy now. It'll be ready in 15 minutes. Under your name. What's your name? Sarah. Sarah Mitchell. I don't know what to say. Say you'll pick it up and feed your daughter tomorrow. That's enough. Sarah sat in her quiet apartment staring at her phone, wondering who Marcus Chen was and why the universe had sent her desperate message to exactly the wrong number. Sarah stood outside the 24-hour pharmacy on 6th and Marshall at 2:30 a.m., her old car engine still ticking as it cooled. Through the bright windows, she could see the lone clerk at the counter. Her heart pounded as she walked through the automatic doors. The young clerk looked up and smiled. Sarah Mitchell? She nodded, not trusting her voice. Your order's ready. The gentleman called about 20 minutes ago. He was very specific about everything. The clerk turned and pulled a large bag from behind the counter. He ordered 6 large containers of the formula you specified, plus some bottles, baby wipes, and diapers. Size 3, right? Sarah's legs felt weak. He said formula. Just formula. The clerk smiled wider. He said you'd probably say that. He told me to tell you that babies need more than just formula, and that you should let people help when they offer. The clerk pushed the bag across the counter. Everything's paid for. He also left his card in case you need anything else. With shaking hands, Sarah took the bag. It was heavy. Inside were 6 large containers of formula, the good kind. The one she usually couldn't afford, along with a package of bottles, baby wipes, and a box of diapers. Tucked into the side was a business card, Marcus Chen, Chief Executive Officer Chen Technologies, and handwritten on the back, You're stronger than you know, M. Sarah stood in the bright pharmacy at nearly 3 in the morning, holding a bag full of supplies she desperately needed, given by a complete stranger. The clerk watched her with kind eyes. Are you okay, miss? Sarah nodded, tears running down her face. Yes, I'm very grateful. She drove home carefully, the precious bag secured in the passenger seat. Back in her apartment, she unpacked everything slowly, touching each item like it might disappear. Then she sat down and looked at the business card. Chen Technologies. She'd heard of it, a major tech company that made software for hospitals and schools, and the CEO had just bought formula for her daughter. Sarah picked up her phone. I'm home. I have everything. I don't know how to thank you properly. You saved us tonight. The response came a few minutes later. I'm glad. Make sure Emma gets a good breakfast. And Sarah? This isn't charity. This is what people should do for each other. Get some sleep. Sarah did sleep that night, for the first time in weeks, without waking every hour in panic. When Emma cried at 6 a.m., Sarah made her bottle without fear, feeding her daughter while watching the sunrise through their small window. Over the next few days, Sarah couldn't stop thinking about Marcus Chen. She'd looked him up online. He was 38 years old. His mother had immigrated from Taiwan and raised him alone in Los Angeles after his father died. He'd built his company from nothing. He donated millions to children's charities, and he'd helped her. A week later, her phone buzzed with a message from the same number. How is Emma doing? Sarah smiled. He'd remembered her daughter's name. She's perfect. The formula is working great. I got my benefits payment yesterday. I'd like to pay you back for everything." "Absolutely not, but I have a question. What kind of work are you looking for?" Sarah explained her background: administration, customer service, data entry. She mentioned her situation honestly: a single mother, no family nearby, limited childcare options. His response surprised her. Chen Technologies has remote positions for customer support specialists, full benefits, health insurance, flexible hours. You'd work from home. Interested? Sarah stared at her phone. This couldn't be real. Things like this didn't happen. I'm interested, but I need to ask. Is this because you feel sorry for me? Because I can't accept a job out of pity? This is because we need good people and you need a good job. I've read your messages. You're articulate, responsible, and determined. Those are the qualities we want. But you'll have to interview with HR like everyone else. I'm not making promises. I'm making an introduction. 2 weeks later, Sarah sat at her kitchen table for a video interview with Chen Technologies' HR director. Emma played quietly in her playpen nearby. Sarah wore her one good blouse and had practiced her answers for days. The interview went well. 3 days later, she got the call. She had the job. Sarah started the following Monday. The work was challenging but manageable. She answered customer emails, solved technical problems, and worked with a team of remote employees across the country. For the first time in months, she had stability, health insurance, a steady paycheck. She never heard from Marcus directly again, though she sent him a heartfelt thank you message that he responded to simply, "You earned this. I just opened a door. You walked through it." Life began to improve. Sarah could pay her bills. She could buy groceries without calculating every penny. She could take Emma to the pediatrician without panic. But she never forgot that night, standing in the pharmacy at 2:30 a.m., holding supplies purchased by a stranger who had simply decided to help. 6 months passed like a dream Sarah was afraid to wake from. She excelled at her job. Her supervisor praised her attention to detail. Her customer satisfaction scores were among the highest on the team. When a promotion to senior support specialist was posted, she applied, interviewed, and got it, with a raise that let her move to a 1-bedroom apartment with actual closets and a working dishwasher. Emma was thriving. At her 1-year checkup, the pediatrician called her perfectly healthy and right on track. She was crawling now, pulling herself up on furniture, babbling constantly. Sarah had enrolled her in a part-time daycare program twice a week, giving Emma time with other children and Sarah time to focus on work without interruption. The small apartment felt like a palace. Sarah had painted Emma's room a soft yellow. She'd bought a used couch that didn't have stains. She'd hung curtains that actually matched. Every morning, she woke up grateful. She'd made friends with other remote workers on her team. She'd reconnected with her sister Laura, who called every week to check in. She'd even started saving money, actually putting dollars into a savings account and watching the number grow. But Sarah never forgot where she'd come from. She never forgot that night with 1 scoop of formula left. She started volunteering at the community center where she'd first met Emily. Every other Saturday, she helped at the food pantry, packing boxes for families who reminded her of herself just months ago. She donated diapers and formula whenever she could spare it. She'd learned firsthand that the difference between making it and breaking down could be as small as $30 and a stranger's kindness. One Saturday morning at the food pantry, she met Rebecca, a young mother with twins, recently divorced, working 2 part-time jobs with no benefits. Rebecca's story was painfully familiar. Sarah gave her an extra box of supplies and slipped her business card inside. On the back, she'd written, "Chen Technologies is hiring remote customer service, flexible hours, good benefits. Apply online and tell them Sarah Mitchell referred you." 3 weeks later, Rebecca sent her a text. "I got the job. I start Monday. Thank you." Sarah smiled, remembering Marcus's words. This is what people should do for each other. On Emma's first birthday, Sarah threw a small party. Just her, Emma, and a few friends from the parent group and work team who'd become like family. They sang happy birthday. Emma smashed her face into a small cake. Everyone laughed. That evening, after everyone left and Emma was asleep, Sarah sat on her couch and thought about sending Marcus a message. She hadn't contacted him since the thank you note months ago. Would it be weird? Would he even remember her? She decided to try. "Hi Marcus, I hope you're doing well. Today is Emma's first birthday. A year ago, I couldn't imagine making it to this day. I wanted you to know that the job changed our lives. I got promoted. We moved to a better apartment. Emma is healthy and happy. I'm volunteering now, helping other single mothers. I even helped someone get hired at Chentech. I know you said this wasn't charity, but it was grace. It was hope when I had none. Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible. Thank you for caring about a stranger's baby. I'll never forget what you did. She didn't expect a response. It was Saturday evening. He was probably busy. Probably didn't even remember the details of that night. But 10 minutes later, her phone buzzed. Sarah, I remember you and Emma very well. Happy birthday to her. I'm proud of what you've built. You did the hard work, and I'm especially proud that you're helping others. That's the real success, not just climbing up, but reaching back. You're exactly who I thought you were that night. Keep going. You're making a difference. Sarah read the message 3 times, her eyes wet. Then she wrote, Can I ask you something? Why did you help me? Really, you could have ignored that text. Most people would have. His response came quickly. My mother worked 3 jobs to raise me. When I was 7, she got sick, couldn't work for 2 weeks. We had no food. A neighbor, a woman we barely knew, brought us groceries every day until my mother recovered. I asked my mother why the neighbor helped us. She said, because she could, because it was right, because one day we'll be the ones who can help someone else. I never forgot that. When your text came through, I could help. So I did. That's all. Sarah sat in her quiet apartment, her daughter sleeping peacefully in the next room, and she understood. Kindness wasn't about grand gestures or deep connections. It was about seeing someone who needed help and choosing to act. It was about being the neighbor who brings groceries, the stranger who buys formula, the person who opens a door. She made herself a promise that night. She would always be that person. Always. 2 years after that desperate text, Sarah's life looked nothing like it had that night. Emma was now 2.5, attending preschool 3 days a week and talking in full sentences. Sarah had been promoted twice more and now led a team of customer support specialists, training new employees and managing escalated cases. She'd saved enough for a small emergency fund. She'd bought a reliable used car. She'd even started taking an online business management course. The scared, desperate woman who'd sent that text felt like a different person, but Sarah never forgot her. She kept that feeling close, like a compass pointing toward gratitude. One Tuesday morning, Sarah received an email from Chen Technologies' VP of Operations. Team leadership meeting next Thursday at headquarters. Attendance required for all team leads. We'll cover Q3 goals and new initiatives. Looking forward to meeting you in person. Sarah's stomach flipped. In 2 years of working remotely, she'd never been to the headquarters. She'd never met anyone from leadership in person. She'd certainly never been in the same building as Marcus Chen. Would he even remember her? Would it be awkward? Should she say something if she saw him? She arranged for Emma to stay with her neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez, a retired teacher who'd become like a grandmother to them. She bought a new blazer. She practiced her presentation on customer satisfaction metrics until she could recite it perfectly. Thursday morning, Sarah drove downtown to the Chen Technologies building, a modern glass structure reflecting the morning sky. Inside, the lobby was all clean lines and natural light. The receptionist directed her to the 10th floor conference room. 12 team leads gathered around a large table. Sarah recognized faces from video calls, but felt the strangeness of seeing them in 3 dimensions. The VP, a sharp woman named Patricia Williams, ran through the agenda efficiently. An hour into the meeting, the conference room door opened. Marcus Chen walked in. Sarah recognized him immediately from the photos she'd seen online, but in person, he had a different energy, calm, focused, present. He wore a simple dark suit and carried a tablet. Sorry I'm late, he said, smiling at the room. Please continue. I'm just here to listen. Patricia nodded and resumed discussing the new customer feedback initiative. Sarah tried to focus on the presentation, but her mind raced. Should she approach him after? Would he remember? Would it be professional? The meeting ended at noon. People gathered their laptops and phones. Sarah was packing her bag when she heard her name. Sarah Mitchell. She turned. Marcus stood a few feet away, smiling. Yes, she managed. I thought that might be you. I saw your name on the team lead list and wondered. How are you? How's Emma? The fact that he remembered her daughter's name after 2 years made Sarah's throat tight. We're both doing very well. She's 2.5 now. Happy, healthy. I've been with the company for 2 years. Recently promoted to team lead. I know. I read the reports. Your team has the highest satisfaction scores in the department. Congratulations. Thank you for that and for everything. I don't think I ever properly thanked you for changing our lives. Marcus shook his head. You changed your own life. I bought formula. You did everything else. Other team leads were filtering out, heading to lunch. Patricia was gathering her materials. Do you have time for lunch? Marcus asked. There's a cafe downstairs. I'd like to hear how you're doing. Really doing. Sarah glanced at Patricia, who nodded encouragingly. Go ahead. We're done here. 20 minutes later, Sarah sat across from Marcus Chen in a quiet corner of the company cafe, still trying to process that this was real. Tell me everything, Marcus said simply. The last 2 years. What's been hard? What's been good? So Sarah told him. About the promotions and the struggles of managing a team remotely. About Emma's progress and her own fears of not being good enough. About the online classes and her dream of maybe someday moving into operations or management. About the volunteer work and the single mothers she'd helped connect to resources. Marcus listened carefully, asking questions, nodding, occasionally smiling. You know what impresses me most, he said finally. You didn't just survive. You're building something, and you're bringing others up with you. That's leadership. I learned from the best, Sarah said quietly. You didn't just help me. You showed me how to help others. That neighbor who helped your mother, you became that for me. And I'm trying to be that for someone else. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I want to tell you something. When your text came through that night, I almost ignored it. I thought it might be a scam. But something made me respond. And helping you, it reminded me why I started this company. Not to make money, though that happened. To create opportunities, to help people build better lives. You reminded me of my purpose. Sarah felt her eyes sting. I remind you? You saved us. No, you saved yourself. I just happened to be there at the right moment. But here's what I've learned. Those moments matter. The moments when we choose to help instead of ignore, to act instead of assume someone else will handle it. Those moments change everything. They talked for another hour. About business and parenthood, about struggles and successes, about the responsibility of being in a position to help others. When they finally stood to leave, Marcus handed Sarah his card again. This one has my direct email, he said. Not for emergencies, for advice, for questions, for whatever you need as you keep growing. You have real talent, Sarah. I'd like to see where it takes you. Sarah took the card, knowing she probably wouldn't use it often, but grateful to have it. Thank you, she said, for everything, then and now. Thank you, Marcus replied, for reminding me why any of this matters. That conversation with Marcus planted something in Sarah's mind, not just gratitude, but purpose. She started thinking bigger. What if she could do more than help one person at a time? What if she could create something lasting? Sarah began spending her Saturday mornings at the community center, not just volunteering, but observing. She noticed patterns. The same women came every week for formula, diapers, and food. They needed these essentials, but they also needed what she'd needed: hope, opportunity, connections. She talked to the center director, a kind man named Robert Martinez who'd run the place for 15 years. We give them supplies, Robert said, but we can't give them jobs. We can't fix the systemic issues. We do what we can. What if we did more? Sarah asked. What if we created a program that connected single mothers to remote work opportunities? I could reach out to Chen Technologies and other companies. We could offer computer training here, help with resumes, interview practice. Robert looked at her thoughtfully. That would be incredible, but it would take funding, coordination, time. Let me try, Sarah said. Let me make some calls. She started with Rebecca, the woman she'd helped get hired at Chen Technologies, who now led her own team. Together, they drafted a proposal for a partnership program. Chen Technologies would offer paid internships to qualified candidates from the community center's program. The center would provide the space and initial training. Sarah would coordinate it all. Rebecca brought the proposal to Patricia. Patricia brought it to Marcus. A week later, Sarah got an email from Marcus. "Let's talk about this. Can you come downtown tomorrow?" The next day, Sarah sat in Marcus's office, a surprisingly modest space with a desk, some chairs and windows overlooking the city. "This proposal is good," Marcus said, tapping the document on his tablet. "Really good. It's exactly the kind of community partnership we should be doing. But I have questions. Who runs it? How do we ensure quality? How do we measure success?" Sarah had prepared for this. She'd spent 3 nights after Emma went to bed researching similar programs, building spreadsheets, outlining structures. She answered every question. She showed him her research. She explained her vision, not just helping people get jobs, but building a sustainable program that would help hundreds of single mothers over the years. Marcus listened, occasionally nodding, sometimes challenging her assumptions, always pushing her to think deeper. Finally, he leaned back in his chair. "This needs someone to run it, someone who understands both the business side and the personal side, someone who's lived it." Sarah's heart pounded. "I could do it. I know I'm not qualified on paper, but you're more qualified than anyone," Marcus interrupted. "You know what these women need because you were there. You understand our company because you've worked here for 2 years. You have the empathy and the business sense. But this would be a big commitment. It would mean transitioning from your current role, possibly taking a risk." "I'm not afraid of risk," Sarah said. "Not anymore." Marcus smiled. "I believe you. Let's do this. I'll fund a pilot program. 6 months. You'll design it, run it, measure it. If it works, we expand. If it doesn't, we learn and adjust. Are you in?" Sarah felt tears threatening but held them back. "I'm in." 3 months later, the New Beginnings program officially launched. Sarah had transitioned to a new role, Director of Community Partnerships. She worked with Robert to renovate a section of the community center into a computer training lab. She recruited volunteers to teach basic software skills. She created a screening process that was supportive rather than judgmental. The first cohort had 12 women. Single mothers, all struggling, all desperate for change. Sarah looked at them during the orientation session and saw herself 3 years ago. "I know what you're going through," she told them. "I was there. I sent a desperate text at 2 a.m. because my baby needed formula and I had no money. Someone helped me. That help changed everything. But here's what I learned. Help is just the beginning. You still have to do the work. You still have to show up. You still have to believe you deserve better, even when everything tells you otherwise. This program gives you tools and opportunity. What you build with them is up to you." She told them her story, all of it. The struggle, the shame, the wrong number text, the stranger's kindness, the hard work of rebuilding. When she finished, one woman raised her hand. Her name was Diana. She was 23 with a 9-month-old son. "Do you really think we can do this?" Diana asked, her voice small. "People like us?" Sarah looked at her directly. "I know you can. Because 3 years ago I was you. And if I can make it, so can you. You're not broken. You're not less than. You're mothers doing the impossible every single day. You're survivors. You're fighters. You just need a chance. That's what this is, your chance." 10 weeks later, 8 of the 12 women graduated from the program. 6 received job offers, including Diana, who accepted a position on Sarah's old customer support team. Sarah attended every graduation, shaking hands, offering hugs, watching women who'd walked in defeated walk out with hope. Marcus attended too. He gave a short speech about second chances and the importance of investing in people. Afterward, he pulled Sarah aside. "You're doing something remarkable here," he said. "This is bigger than I imagined. These women, you're changing their lives." "We're changing them together," Sarah corrected. "You provided the opportunity. I just showed them the door." Marcus laughed. "Funny, that's exactly what I said to you once." "I know," Sarah said, smiling. "I learned it from you." 5 years after that desperate text, Sarah stood in the community center auditorium, watching the 10th cohort of New Beginnings graduates receive their certificates. Emma, now 5.5, sat in the front row next to Mrs. Rodriguez, swinging her legs and waving at her mother. Sarah waved back, her heart full. The program had grown beyond her wildest hopes. Over 5 years, 127 women had completed the training. 93 had found jobs not just at Chen Technologies, but at dozens of companies across the city. Several had been promoted. 2 had started their own businesses. 1 was now a program coordinator, helping Sarah run New Beginnings. The program had attracted attention. Local news had covered it. Other companies had reached out about partnerships. Foundations had offered grants. Sarah had been invited to speak at conferences about workforce development and social entrepreneurship, but the numbers were just numbers. What mattered were the stories. Diana, from that first cohort, now led her own team at Chen Technologies and was saving for a house. She brought her son to every graduation, showing him what his mother had accomplished. Rebecca had been promoted to operations manager and was teaching interview skills to new cohorts. Jasmine, from cohort 3, had started a nonprofit providing business clothes to women entering the workforce. These women survivors, fighters, mothers had taken their chance and built new lives. After the graduation ceremony, the reception was full of laughter, hugs, and proud tears. Sarah moved through the crowd, congratulating graduates, meeting their children, listening to their plans. Marcus arrived late, as he often did, slipping in quietly. He'd been a steady supporter of the program, expanding funding, connecting Sarah to resources, attending graduations whenever his schedule allowed. They stood together at the back of the room watching the celebration. "Remember when this was just an idea?" Sarah said. "I remember when you thought you weren't qualified to run it," Marcus replied, smiling. "I wasn't. On paper. You were, in every way that mattered." They watched Diana help a new graduate fill out job application paperwork, showing her the tricks she'd learned. "That's the real magic," Marcus said quietly. "Not what we did for them, what they're doing for each other. You built something that sustains itself." Sarah thought about that wrong number text 5 years ago, about standing in the pharmacy at 2:30 a.m., about the fear and desperation and shame, about the moment someone chose to help instead of ignore. "Can I tell you something?" Sarah said. "Sometimes I think about what would have happened if you'd ignored that text, if you'd just deleted it and gone back to work." "I think about that too," Marcus admitted. "I almost did." "What made you respond?" Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Honestly, I don't know. Instinct. Conscience. My mother's voice in my head. Maybe divine intervention. Does it matter?" "It matters to me," Sarah said. "It matters to Emma. It matters to every woman who's gone through this program. One small choice to respond instead of ignore changed everything." "That's the thing about small choices," Marcus said. "We never know which ones will change the world. We just have to make the right ones, 13, 14, when we can." A photographer from the local paper approached, asking for a photo of Marcus and Sarah with the graduates. They gathered together, this unlikely family bound by struggle and hope and second chances. After the photographer left, Emma ran up to Sarah, tugging her hand. "Mama, you were great." All the ladies were crying happy tears. Sarah picked her up, holding her close. They were crying because they're proud of themselves, and they should be. "Like you're proud of me?" Emma asked. "Exactly like that." Marcus crouched down to Emma's level. "Your mama is one of the bravest people I know. Do you know that?" Emma nodded seriously. "She tells me I can do anything if I work hard and don't give up." "That's good advice," Marcus said, standing. He looked at Sarah. "She's lucky to have you." "I'm lucky to have her," Sarah replied. "She's the reason I survived, the reason I fought, the reason any of this matters." That evening, after Emma was asleep, Sarah sat on her couch in their small but comfortable apartment. She'd come so far from that studio with peeling paint and one scoop of formula. She thought about the journey, about hitting bottom and finding a hand reaching down, about learning to accept help, about discovering strength she didn't know she had, about the sacred responsibility of helping others the way she'd been helped. She picked up her phone and typed the message to Marcus. "Thank you for answering a wrong number. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for believing I could do more than survive. You changed my life. And through this program, we've changed 127 more. That's the ripple effect of one act of kindness. Never underestimate what you did that night." His response came quickly. "Never underestimate what you did with it." I gave you formula. You built an empire of hope. That's all you, Sarah. Be proud." Sarah read the message twice, then opened her notes app. She'd been writing a speech for an upcoming conference about breaking cycles of poverty. She typed a new section. 5 years ago, I was drowning. Single mother, no job, no money, no hope. In my darkest moment, I reached out for help and accidentally reached the exact right person. But here's what I learned. There's no such thing as the exact right person. There are only people who choose to help when they can. What made Marcus Chen special wasn't his money or his position. It was his decision to respond instead of ignore, to act instead of assume someone else would handle it, to see a stranger's pain and say, "I can do something about this." That choice, that simple, human choice, started a chain reaction that changed hundreds of lives. We're all capable of being that person, the neighbor who brings groceries, the stranger who buys formula, the friend who makes the call, the mentor who opens the door. Kindness isn't about grand gestures. It's about small choices in critical moments. It's about seeing someone who needs help and choosing to act. Sarah saved the document and set her phone aside. She thought about tomorrow, another day of coordinating the program, interviewing potential candidates, planning the next expansion. Another day of being a mother, an employee, a leader, a survivor. She thought about all the women who would come through new beginnings in the years ahead, all the children who would grow up with mothers who chose to fight for better, all the ripples spreading outward from one act of kindness on one desperate night, and she smiled, knowing that when she told Emma her story someday, the full story, she could tell her the truth. Yes, the world is hard. Yes, life can be overwhelming. Yes, there will be moments when you feel like giving up, but there are also strangers who become angels, wrong numbers that are exactly right, moments of grace in the darkness, and the strength you didn't know you had until you needed it. That's the story Sarah would tell. That's the lesson she would teach. That's the legacy she would leave. One desperate text, one stranger's kindness, one mother's determination to pay it forward. That's how you change the world. This story teaches us that kindness is a choice we make in critical moments that can change everything for someone else and for ourselves. Sarah's story reminds us that we are stronger than we know, especially in our darkest hours. Accepting help is not weakness. It's the first step toward healing. One act of compassion can start a ripple effect that touches hundreds of lives. Our struggles don't define us. What we do with our second chances does. Paying forward the kindness we receive multiplies its power infinitely. Marcus showed us that true success is measured not by what we accumulate, but by what we give and who we lift up. He could have ignored that text. Instead, he responded, and in doing so, he didn't just save one mother and child. He ignited a movement. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe for more stories that remind us of the good still present in this world. Remember, you might be one message, one choice, one moment of kindness away from changing someone's life forever. Don't waste that opportunity. The world needs more people like Marcus and more people like Sarah, who took her second chance and built a ladder for others to climb. What will you do when your moment comes?